We thought it might do just a few weeks ago. But this race for Europe is proving to be really, really interesting. Tim Sherwood is here, Julien Laurent is here, and Newcastle are showing that, as they did in the Carabao Cup final, they're putting in the performances when they count.
You know what, Kels? I think they've really taken, they've been buoyed by that win. And the fact that now they've got a great opportunity of being in the Champions League. You know it's very difficult to go to St James's Park when Newcastle are in this frame of mind, Kels. So you have to say that that win of that trophy has definitely helped them to kick on and get the momentum and the confidence that they're showing at the minute. We've got to play them next.
Yep.
Even though it's at Arsenal, it's a tough team to play in this mode. It's a tough team. They
are a tough team. Do you think because they potentially could go second next week if they beat Arsenal, do you think they're the second best squad in the league?
No, I don't. I think the manager's done a brilliant job. Eddie Howe's done excellent with them. Even
who would you say is a second then?
I think second best squad. I think Villa are right up there. Their squad of players are excellent. I think they
particularly post January.
Yeah,
exactly. No one's had a better January than that ever. I can't remember in probably a very long time. So. No, for me, I just think Newcastle and Eddie's done a great job, especially after winning the Carabao Cup. And you just think that maybe the wind might be out of their sails now. They might have exhaled and just felt that the job was done. Nothing of the sort. I think the international break coming after that helped them out. They allowed them to celebrate, regroup, and they've enjoyed Champions League in previous years, and they want to enjoy it again. It's really important. If you're going to bring good players to your football club, everyone wants to play in the Champions League now. If you want to keep the likes of Isak, Joe Linton, Grammarish at your club, you need to be in the Champions League, and I think they're going to achieve it.
Yeah, and that's, as you say, a crucial point for what happens next with Newcastle, because not only have they got themselves in the Champions League places, they look like they're finishing the season with a flourish, and they're creating that kind of atmosphere at St James's Park that will also attract those players and encourage them to stay at the club.
Yeah, I think they need massively the Champions League for the money. Group stage in the new phase of the format of the Champions League, plus let's say a playoff space, is 60 to 70 million pounds. Already just that extra money in your budget. Yeah. It's massive. Plus, like you've been saying, attracting the right players, keeping the ones you want, no PSR issues. You don't have to sell an Anderson, for example. You can keep Miley, you can keep Bruno, you can keep Tonali, you can keep everybody you want to keep. And Isak especially, because Isak, of all of them, is the one that has to say, I need to play Champions League football. I'm too good not to play Champions League football. So if they have that, they can probably keep him for another season.
It is a place, Kels, where it does seem very attractive because of the energy that's in Newcastle. If you can keep Isak, Tonali as well. You're looking at Tonali and his emergence, and everybody knew how good he was. But like when you're watching him now, especially with Guimaraes and the way that they link up together, the class of Isak, you think if they can get in Champions League and they can keep themselves in they are going to... It's a place that you'd want to go to because you feel that something's coming.
Yeah,
definitely. And the other thing as well that we've talked about in this run-in is the fact that teams are facing each other. So when Newcastle get the chance to come up against Chelsea, and look, we'll talk about their away record next as well, but when they've got a chance to take points off Chelsea, off a direct competitor, they've been able to do it.
Well, it's in their hands. You haven't got to concentrate on getting back in the dressing room and seeing how their results are going on. You can do the job and damage them.
Exactly.
And I think they deserve that. Obviously, Nicholas Jackson getting sent off helped them along the way, but just felt the atmosphere there. Everyone, like I said before, they've had good runs in the Champions League. They enjoy it. The atmosphere is like no other. We played there, Wrighty. It's incredible.
Great place.
And Wrighty's absolutely right. They get lauded there. They get worshipped at that football club. Speaking to Les Ferdinand, you would think he'd been there 10 years. It was like just over a year he was there, but they laud him as the Messiah. Alan Shearer, of course, he's from the area, and he was unbelievable, one of the best strikers we've ever had in the Premier League. So you can understand that. So for Isak to go somewhere else, we're talking about the crown jewels here in Isak, it'd be very difficult for that boy, unless they're not in the Champions League, to leave, because he will not get that sort of reaction at any other club.
Yeah, and sometimes with Newcastle, although the intensity and the scrutiny in the city is very intense, actually outside, maybe there'll be games where people don't see if you've had an off game in the same way that you would if you were...
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to say Manchester United, but purely because probably unlikely to go to Manchester United. I don't want to cause an incident. But look, Isak is a player who people will be interested in, but... And Newcastle fans love their number 9s, as you said, Les Ferdinand and Alan Shearer, but their midfield seems to be an area that one, has been really appreciated by the crowd, and two, where they seem to have really got it right this season.
Yeah, the balance has been fantastic. Tonali coming back, he's obviously had his problems, but with his time out, he obviously wasn't just sitting on his couch. You know, he was working hard, trying to get the opportunity to get out there and play in front of these magnificent supporters, and he's done brilliant. But the balance has been great. Joe Linton's been excellent as well there. You know, I just think they've done a good job. It's wide men as well. We don't even talk about Barnes, who's sitting on the bench for a lot of the season. All of a sudden, he gets his opportunity. Gordon steps out of the arena. He comes, affects the game every time he plays. Murphy, no one ever mentions. We never even talk about him in the same breath as England, but he should be in the reckoning, without doubt. I mean, he affects the game he scored of the club and the running of the football club. And I think Eddie Howe has to take all the credit.
Yeah.
You know what, Kels? When you look at, like, just quickly on that midfield, Tonali, Joe Linton and Guimaraes, and then you've got Gordon and Murphy. Murphy's somebody, you say they don't speak about him. The way they did speak about him was, if Newcastle were able to spend, like, he would probably be one of the players that would be gone.
Yeah.
You know, those are the kind of things you hear them saying about him. But when you think of their front six, and once they strengthen the back line and get some players, it's going to be a dangerous squad. It's really going to be a dangerous squad. They've got some really good players.
Well, it's causing all kinds of trouble at the moment. Next up, as you said, it's Arsenal at the Emirates. We'll talk more about that when we talk about Arsenal in a bit more detail. And then it's Everton on the final day of the season for Newcastle. So just 2 more games to go, in a fantastic position in terms of possibly qualifying for the Champions League next season. They were up against Chelsea. Chelsea's away form is terrible. It's really poor. I mean, look, this is a sort of perennial question about teams that have this contrast. But what on earth is going on with them?
I don't know. I think Maresca is partly to blame because some of the decisions that he makes away from home in his lineups, as we saw in that game. I know they lose Nico after half an hour, so it's not easy. But still, again, Caicedo are right back, and I understand it's for controlling midfield when they have the ball, but when they don't have the ball, he's under pressure so much, especially against somebody like Gordon, that if you're Newcastle, you clearly identify the weakness and say, give the ball to Gordon, and after 1 minute, he went on him, and they score after 2 minutes. So I just don't understand why you need, when you've got Gusto on the bench and Reece James on the bench, to start a game like this, or at this time of the season with what's at stake.
Why he's doing that, because, like you rightly say, you're going to attack him all the time. Whatever he's saying about getting into the midfield and controlling, you've got to get control of the game. You've got to try and get control of the game. So when you're looking at a Chelsea side, for me, not enough experience in the side to go away and have a player play at right back. It should be so as you can actually tell them what to be doing and giving him the kind of support he needs, so he's not getting hammered by someone like Gordon. It all comes down to the manager, Kels. Unless something's happened with Reece James and Gusto. I don't know what's happened, but that for me is unacceptable. It's
unacceptable. They came on as well, so it was a problem. They would not even come on later, but Reece James came on at half time and Gusto in the second.
We're talking about a Chelsea side that they have to be in the Champions League. They have to qualify for it with the monies they're spending and everything what's happening with their squad and what's going to happen with the PSR. Whatever's going to happen with Chelsea, they have to be in it. You know, so he's making kind of decisions that are very worrying, especially in that particular incident.
Reece is his club captain.
Yeah.
I mean, something has obviously happened in the background there. We know he's had the injury problems, but he's ready now. He's been training for months. You know, he's had the opportunities to play. I can't understand some of the decisions he makes, Maresca, regarding the Conference League. Europa Conference League, he's resting players in the Premier League to play against inferior opposition, with all due respect. They should be winning this competition. It's going to be a tough game in the final, we know that. But that is about it.
There seems to be has been very critical of medical squad about the Awani injury. How would you, whatever he was talking about, how would you feel about a public altercation with the owner on the pitch as a manager, Tim?
I think he's not directing it towards Nuno.
No,
I think he's directing it, sharing it with him and saying that Villa are only behind them on goal difference. It's not the end of the world. Manchester City, you know, you would expect them to go and win everything. Well, they showed this weekend that that's not always going to work for them. And then, you know, that Arsenal and Newcastle are going to be playing each other next weekend. So that again, it starts to put the pressure on other teams.
I think that Forest could win them 2 games as well.
And Forest Chelsea.
Yeah, Forest Chelsea.
And that's the one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a massive one.
At the City Ground as well, which has been the scene. I mean, I was there when, funnily enough, they beat Arsenal on the last day of the season to stay up Nottingham Forest, and it was incredible. And that's a ground that can really help the players.